Hello, friends, and welcome to a happy half hour that I did not think we would be taping in the year of our Lord 2025 or 2026 now.
What year of our Lord did you think we would be taping this in?
I don't know, probably at some point in the future.
Like 2028?
But let me tell you, what we watched in this building the other night, by the way, this is the Happy Half Hour brought to you by our friends at Deep Eddy. Can't forget our sponsors, New Year's, same sponsor. Thanks to them. And thanks to everybody who was in this building on Saturday night for a night that I don't think a lot of people are going to forget for a long time. Your Carolina Panthers lost in the wild card round to the Los Angeles Rams, 34-31. And we'll get to that, and that is important, and we will get to that. But I wanted to start this show just by talking about the scene. I have had more people in the 36 hours since that game, however long it's been, neighbors on the street, people texting, everything. And it's like, man, that was like 2003 all over again. Man, that was like 2015. It ain't been that loud since. It ain't been. This was the place to be the other night.
Yeah.
The vibes were off the charts.
Yeah. They were. It was incredible, even during pregame. And, you know, I'm so glad that Dave Canales mentioned this yesterday because I noticed it too, like, the players, the reaction that fans were giving just for players coming out during warm-ups an hour before kickoff is what a year or so ago you would hear for the game introductions. Like, it was already an hour before kickoff, standing down there, and I think it was after the quarterbacks and centers had come out, and a keep pounding chant started, and it was just like, we've got over an hour until kickoff.
Right.
And it was already getting packed. You just knew... You knew from early in the day that it was going to be special. And when something like that happens and the atmosphere gets like that, your worry is always a little like, oh, is it about to be a letdown? And I know it was a loss, but I don't think the game was a letdown for what that atmosphere was. It was absolutely incredible. I know I've only been here for a couple of years. I've never experienced anything like that here. That was up there with some of the best playoff atmospheres I think I've ever seen. And I've watched the other games this weekend. I don't really, maybe Philly, but I can't really think of another one that has matched it. It was just, It was incredible from beginning to end. Fans were so into it. This place was loud. The press box was swaying at times because it was so loud, and it never stopped. We got our first. I don't remember a player jumping into the stands before after a touchdown like Chuba did. It was fun. Somebody on Twitter, I was soliciting names for it, and somebody on Twitter went with Bank Vault, and I was like, oh, that's a good one.
That ain't bad.
That's a good one. But fans showed up. It was just a reminder, and people have said it, and it was appearing on Saturday night that you give this city something to root for, and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And now, you know, Chuba Hubbard said it yesterday, like, that's the standard. That's what we need games to be like moving forward.
That's right.
We're going to keep doing our part. You keep doing yours.
And that's the important part. They got to keep doing theirs. They got to keep winning divisions and having home games and stuff like that if they want these big special event home game playoffs. But podcast match, you'll remember this. Young Will, former cast member of this here Happy Half Hour back in the day, Will Bryan, the former Panther stats guy. He's still young Will in our hearts. Will was at the game, and he was sitting down near my wife, and I was talking to him yesterday, and he was like, I'm emotionally spent. I've got nothing left. I've just got – and I think that's the way a lot of people felt because it just stayed at such a pitch all night. Listen, folks, Cam Newton's back in the building. Here's the thing. He, you know, you've seen the pictures out there on our channels, on the social medias, all that kind of stuff. He's hanging out with the Teppers before the game. He's wandering around interacting with the other legends, current players. He's, you know, he walks out the tunnel and hits this.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment, everybody in this building knew it was on.
Yeah.
Cam Newton hit the drum. Cam Newton's here all about the keep pounding. He's back on the field. He's back in the house where he always should be. So this is his place. This was, you know, when we talk about this was the last time since, we're talking about since Cam Newton was doing stuff because it has been 10 years since there was a playoff game in this building. So having him started off was the appropriate note. And I think that put this building at a place where it stayed the rest of the night.
And it was cool, too, because there's always a worry, not just with this team, but with any team, that, like, if you focus too much on the past, does it distract from the future, or the present, you know? Yeah. And I think Cam being here on Saturday night elevated everything around it.
Yeah.
because you saw the defense after Mike Jack's pick run to the end zone, and their celebration was to do the Superman.
Mm-hmm.
T-Mac, after his first down catch, did a dab.
Yeah.
After Bryce ran that touchdown in, somebody had a video from the stands of Cam leaning out of his suite with his kids just going absolutely nuts and like getting all the fans around him hyped up, like, yeah, Bryce, come on, Bryce. Like, T-Mac said it afterwards too. He said it twice. I think it was that important for him to say it. He said it after the game, and he said it again on Sunday. He said having those legends here just made us realize, like, for sure what we want to do, what we want to get to and what the standard is. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially he was saying, like, what the standard is and what it needs to be and what we should be reaching for.
Right.
And so it was really cool. It was nice to see that sentiment just kind of all throughout the team and throughout the building.
And it wasn't just Cam. I mean, going into that fourth quarter, which, oh, by the way, we'll get to in a minute. What a fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. You start that with Wesley Walls, with Jake Delhomme, with Steve Smith. I mean, and Muhsin Muhammad. And that's why I say, I mean, you said I haven't been here that long. I hadn't seen playoff game here. I have. I was here, 96 Cowboys. I was here, 03 Cowboys. I was here, 15 NFC Championship game. And the atmosphere was the equivalent. I mean, it felt like it. And I think a lot of that is it's been 10 years, and a lot of people have been waiting a long time. But there was something very tangible about this team that made people tap into it. And I think that, 2015 was a whole different vibe because they were 15-1 and just kept it at that level.
You'd had a couple of years building up to it, too.
Long. This was like 14 to me. When you got to scratch and claw and come out the dirt to win your division title, the way this team did this year, I think that created some of that stuff. But it was an incredible environment throughout the night. Steve's out there hyping up the crowd. Him and Jay Stu down there on the field doing their thing. I mean, it just throughout the night, it was the perfect blend of past, present, future. And this team has left people thinking about the future. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is clearly a team that is ascending. You've gone from 2 wins, 5 wins, 8 wins the last 2 years. And now everybody's thinking about what the next steps are. And those, like you mentioned, players all talked about, let's make sure this is the standard now and it goes up from here. But listen, they've got themselves in a pot. And for instance, I don't want to take too much credit for this, but since little Bryce Young, our nesting doll, who came all the way to the happy half hour from Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic, Prague, ever since little Bryce here joined the happy half hour cast, this team goes to the playoffs every year. It's 1-0. And again,
that's your geopolitical lesson for the day.
So thanks, Allie, for picking that up in Prague for me while you were there. It's found a home right here at the Happy Half Hour, and it will remain because it's good luck, as with many things are. But listen, little Bryce there and big Bryce out there on the field had another one of them games.
Yeah, he was in a flow state, man.
That game looked like at 14-0 in the second quarter. I think there were a lot of people probably in this building watching on TV thought, ooh, this one's going to get away from them.
I didn't think that. You know why? I've seen this team come back from that more than once this year.
Yeah.
And you could just – there's usually a moment in a game this season where you can always tell where Bryce, like, hits it, like where he hits his flow. He hits his groove. Mm-hmm. And when he hit that after that drive where Chuba scored that first touchdown – it was like, oh, okay, like buckle up. Now we're in it.
Yeah, he's on tonight, everybody.
Yeah, and when he juked that linebacker to run in that, like, what was it, like a 16-yard touchdown? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he juked the linebacker, and it wasn't like a Bijan Robinson juke, but it was like a fake out juke.
Right.
He still got him.
This is not a man who runs.
Yeah.
This is not Cam
Although
Newton.
He did slide on Saturday night for the first time I think ever.
He slid-ish.
Yeah. And he was in a groove. He was doing – there's been games where Bryce has gotten in grooves this season or Bryce has done well, but it's been like one thing or the other. Like, the Atlanta game, he couldn't miss a pass. Mm-hmm. And then there was another game, was it Tampa Week 16, where he was doing a lot of it with his legs. Saturday night, he was doing both. And I think you kind of found what you can really build on. Last year – the last second half of the season, you realized, like, you could trust Bryce in like late games, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this year it was about like balancing that with the run game. And I think now they've realized you can balance it with the run game and have Bryce be a part of that run game.
Yeah.
Let's see. He finished with 3 carries for 24 yards and a touchdown. That's an average of 8 yards a carry. Like that's you can build off of that moving forward too. Like to your point, this may be the first time in a while you're going into the offseason not comparing stuff to the past, but actually like looking forward to the future.
Right. And that was one of the things. I mean, in talking about that run, just that the one play that kind of stood out in my mind, and I went back and watched fourth quarter again last night just to kind of sort of lock it into my brain. Also, I am so brain tired right now after the last 6-8 weeks of our lives. It's going to be a minute, but I was watching that game, and just that little, it's almost like that RPO action, that quick toss to T-Mac going across the middle.
Oh, that little flick of the wrist.
Yeah. And
you didn't even realize he threw it.
Little things like that, just the idea that Bryce might run it opens the door for some of that kind of stuff. And that's one of the things, and Canales talked about this yesterday, when you think about Jalen Coker going off the way he did, 134 yards, 9 catches, touchdown late. When you see Jalen Coker doing that stuff, when you've watched Teteroa McMillan all year long, going over 1,000 yards, probably going to be your offensive rookie of the year. He should be anyway if he's not. When you see those things happen over and over again with Bryce kind of hitting that gear, we keep doing this. We keep making this hand signal like an airplane taking off, and that's what this team's doing. And when Canales talked about it yesterday in the context of Jalen and T-Mac, it's like this offense is going to continue to develop, continue to grow, and now you know who those guys are. And when you know this guy over here, the big tall one, can go get it the way he can. And I still think the next thing you're going to see McMillan develop is into more of that across the middle. Yeah. More of those plays like that where he just takes a short pass and turns it into a longer one.
Like one of those where he realizes or remembers that he's bigger than the corner covering him.
Yeah.
And like he can out-physical.
And outrun a lot of them too, because he's not a slow guy. And then Jalen's a big, strong, contested catch guy. And you're going to see, I mean, Xavier Liggett didn't have the second season a lot of people anticipated, but he's still a 24-year-old dude who's going to grow in this offense, along with Bryce and Jalen and T-Mac, and Jimmy Horn, who's going to keep getting chances. You could see things on the 52-yard pass to Jalen Coker. I mean, a lot of it was because Jimmy pulled a safety with him.
Yeah.
Because I love Jimmy's route on that play. Run fast, straight line. Go. Just go way down there. Run as far as you can, as fast as you can. Yeah. See if somebody goes with you. Somebody did, and there's space for Jalen coming across. Turns into a big play.
Jalen also gave he shouted out Jimmy and he shouted out T-Mac for getting him space on that play. And then T-Mac and XL both is who opened up that touchdown to Coker in the corner. So you're seeing we really saw it kind of start to come to life in that Atlanta game where it was like, okay, if defenses are going to tilt towards T-Mac, let's send Jalen Coker down there to go get it. And now you have 2 legitimate guys that you can spread the field with. And then, Jimmy Horn's going to keep developing. I know the game did not end the way Jimmy wanted it to. It didn't end the way anybody wanted it to, but especially Jimmy on Saturday night. But you have to remember, Jimmy Horn, he hasn't touched the ball a lot this season, but when he does, he's made plays. You can argue they're not exactly. That's exactly where I was going. You can argue that they're not in this position to play in that game regardless without Jimmy Horn. And I think it's exciting to see what he can do. I talked to him in the locker room yesterday. He's not planning on going in. He's like, I'm spending my off season right here. I've got access to the facilities. I've got access to the weight room. I've got access to the film or whatnot. And he was like, I have a lot of work to do this off season, and I'm going to spend it right here getting it done.
Yep, no doubt. There's a lot to look forward to with that crowd. You mentioned yesterday, clean out day is always kind of a weird day because a team coming off a pretty significant high of winning a division, enjoying the shirts and hats, being division champs, having a home playoff game, and it ended suddenly. I think everybody was, kind of caught in between for the most part of how they felt about it because there was a pride, and it was earned in the way they played late, the way they got to this point and created that moment, and the way they came back. I mean, to to basically stand toe-to-toe with Sean McVay and Matt Stafford and the Rams and just go back and forth. And effectively, whoever had the ball, in that position. I mean, the Panthers had the ball last, but getting it with 38 seconds left after you just got by Matt Stafford. And this is not blowing a game or anything like that. It was like, listen, you're playing one of the best to ever do it in this generation, and I'm talking about coach and quarterback. So sometimes you get got, and that's what happened the other night. It wasn't about falling short. They achieved a lot, and I think the way that game went and the way they fought back, took the lead with 2.5 minutes or whatever it was left in the game, kind of put a lot of people on notice that, hey, the things that we've been talking about all year to a much smaller audience starting to get exposed to more and more people. And you can already tell this is going to be that offseason where the Carolina Panthers become that fashionable pick.
Yeah,
by a lot of people.
They're going to be a fun one.
They're going to be like that Critics' Choice album that nobody's ever listened to, your favorite indie band.
I did see a lot of people, because it was the only game on at the time, and they've been in primetime this year, that Monday night game. But this one is a bigger deal. It's the playoffs.
No doubt.
And I saw so many people, national people and just whatnot, being like, wow, this is some of the best throws I've ever seen Bryce make. He's playing his most clutch he's ever played right now. And he played great on Saturday night. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, oh, you haven't been watching this season.
That's right. He's had moments like this before. So
he has. And let's just take a second, too, to on the other side of the ball, to give Mike Jackson his props. That may be one of the better corner games you're going to see.
Yep.
He had 4 pass breakups, an interception. He allowed 1 catch. Granted, it was a big one, and he knows that. He talked about it afterwards. He was like, that's what I'm going to think about when I think about this game is that catch. And he said exactly what happened, too. He's like, I didn't get my feet set. He's like, it was late in the game. They were going fast, and I didn't have my feet set the way I needed to. And he said, and that's exactly what happened. It's tangible. And that's kind of a picture of the entire team. Everything that went wrong are tangible fixes. It's not one of those things like it was the past couple of years, 2022, 2023, where it's like, what's wrong? Take your pick. Close your eyes and point, It's like now it's like, okay, we know what needs to be done, whether it's holes, whether it's different positions with Mike, whether it's getting your feet set in a 2-minute drill. But that's exciting too. Matt, let me ask your opinion. Is this me just being biased because I'm here? Is that one of the top 3 corner duos in the NFL now?
I think so. They're really good. Mike Jack is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's a hot take because over the weekend, one of the things that got lost prior to kickoff was the fact AP All-Pro votes came out Saturday morning. And people vote first, second team, whatever, throughout. J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson were 6th and 7th overall in the league at cornerback, highest-ranked duo in the league. I mean, Derek Stingley and Kamari Laster in Houston were 1 and 8, but I think that's the conversation.
What about DeGene and Mitchell?
Yeah, if you're talking about, nobody was higher in the voting than our 2 guys here. So
and
6th and 7th overall in the league. Now, did that keep either one of them from becoming an All-Pro? Possibly, but I think it's a recognition of the fact what Matt Stafford was talking about going into that game is that Panthers secondary is really good. When you think about what Trayvon Merritt can do in the run game and then add to it 2 corners who can stand up to that kind of pressure.
They both, if you count the postseason with it, they both ended with 5 interceptions. Mike had 4 in the regular season. JC had 5. JC had 8 pass breakups. Mike had 19, which led the league. And then you had the 4 that he had on Saturday night. That is now, and I'll go back and double-check my work, but just a quick glance here.
She's doing math, everybody. Buckle up.
Okay, Tony Jefferson had 7 pass breakups and 4 interceptions, and Dante Jackson had 12 and 4. Nope, if my math is right, now granted, I know that's not my strong suit, but if my math is right, JC and Mike will still go all total over that. Unless it's, okay, you got Kevin Beard.
I love it when she maths.
You're watching it live. My point is that last year they ended the season as the top corner duo in the league between pass breakups, interceptions. No other team's duo had more.
Yep.
And Chicago may have beat them with Kevin Barrett and Nashawn Wright, but I got to go check. Yeah. It's close.
Point is,
it's close enough that I got to get out a pen and a piece of paper.
Yeah, point is, progress is being made. That's why the Carolina Panthers want to keep building on the other side of the ball, too. Dave Canales said yesterday in his wrap-up press conference, Ejiro Vero, who's getting some head coaching interviews, he wants him around. He was just unequivocal about that. It was almost like, why would you even ask me that? Of course I want him here. This defense went from 32nd in the league in every category a year ago to the great middle of the NFL. They were 15th scoring, 16th in yards.
And don't forget, in 2023, they were like, a top 2 passing defense?
Yeah, but that was a whole different set of people.
That's true.
So it's a lot's changed personnel-wise, but with that coaching staff kind of embedding here with the same group of people over the course of the year, you did see a lot of progress, and they want to continue to build on that. We'll do a special off-season edition of the Happy Half Hour, I don't know, maybe next week, where we talk about some of the needs and wants and how to get theirs of this off-season, because there's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of stuff to talk about, but you just hit on it. I mean, one of the big questions, and that was the one big bad piece of news yesterday, Ike Ekwonu, torn patella tendon. That's a long one. That is not a short-term injury. And I think a lot of times people, I have had this conversation with Austin Corbett a lot when he had his ACL. I think people see a guy injured and they put a time frame on it and say, okay, well, that's a 6-month or that's an 8-month or whatever. We don't know how long this one's going to be. I mean, it could be, if you look at the stuff that's online, medical journals and stuff like that, it's all over the map. There is no consensus, and it's kind of a individual guy or an individual timeline based on each individual guy, because tight ends are going to recover different than tackles. So we hope for the best for Icky, but you have to at least consider that this is a long-term enough injury that him not being ready for the regular season opener next fall is a very real possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, we hope for the best for Icky. Great kid, worked hard, and was really ascending as a player along with a lot of other people around here. But tough timing, because now you're adding left tackle to the offseason wish list. You're adding to the shopping list of what's got to get done. You got to have somebody. And right now they're in pretty good shape offensive line-wise, because, D-Lou, Rob Hunt under contract, Timo under contract long-term. Icky was under contract, but now Icky's hurt. So you got to dip into that pool of free agents where Josh Nijman is among the unrestricted free agents, Brady Christensen as well. Those two guys are options, but they're going to be looking all across the board at a lot of different stuff. When we hear from Dan Morgan later this week, we'll get a little more insight as to what they're thinking and how they're going to attack that. But just know that left tackle, question mark, is going to have to be on that list, along with pass rusher, more help on defense, another linebacker or two. I mean, all the different things that we'll talk about. Left tackle is now on the list, and it's a shame for Icky, and it's something the Panthers are going to have to overcome.
This is such a small aside, but kind of insult to injury when he got hurt was that he got a flag for holding.
Yeah.
And I saw Mark, I can never say his last name wrong, or last name right, I'm sorry.
But you're going to try it anyway, aren't you?
Do you know who I'm thinking of? Offensive lineman, now he's an announcer, Mark Schlereth. Yeah, I was not going to say that correctly.
I got you.
And he tweeted something, and he was like, I hate how that's called. That needs to be addressed, because it's not holding, it's falling down from your injury.
He wasn't holding for strategic advantage.
He was holding for dear life.
That was self-defense. I'm on my way to the ground with something that's going to have me on the sidelines for a minute.
Yeah. So it was lost in the shuffle. I just wanted to take that asterisk off of Icky's injury, that he shouldn't have gotten a penalty as he did it.
He shouldn't, but he's got some time. It's going to take some recovery. He's going to get surgery for that thing and be on his way back soon, and they'll wrap their arms around him down there in the athletic training room the way they always do. I mean, but this was a significant one. It's the first hurdle the Carolina Panthers are going to have to clear in their 2026 offseason. But man, it is something to be able to sit here in this chair in January 26 talking about what we saw out there Saturday night.
Yeah.
Because at no point, I think I was a reasonable person who thought this looked like a 7, maybe 8-win team, turned out to be 8 and 9 and division champions. I didn't expect that the Carolina Panthers could get to the point of the team we saw out there Saturday night. They were standing toe-to-toe with Sean McVay and Matt Stafford and the Rams and just going, I mean, it was a classic.
Haymakers.
Nick Scott said it in the locker room after the game. He said, we got caught on the wrong side of a classic.
Yeah.
And that's what that game was, and in a lot of ways, that's what this team was. So
that's what that fourth quarter was. More fourth quarter lead changes than any playoff game in history.
Yep, and it's a lot. Yeah. So it's good energy to go into the offseason with.
A small aside, again, you just mentioned Nick Scott, made me think of it, because I know there's a lot of conversations and narratives and referendums. Puka Nacua made one of the most incredible defensive plays you're going to see. Like, I don't know who's coming down with that ball.
Puka Nacua, pass defense, one.
Yeah, and Buddy was an important one.
Breaking up the interception by Nick Scott was maybe the best piece of cornerback play by anybody, and it just happened to be by a wide receiver.
And that's just one of those things where that's the kind of game it was, where you can point to plays and you go, what if Puka doesn't break up that pass? What if Isaiah Simmons doesn't block the punt? What if the Rams go for a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down and don't get stopped? Like, that to me, though, like, there's always going to be question marks, but that's what makes such a game. That's what makes a game like that so special, is that there were moments in the game where it was coaching, execution, luck, and that's what makes a good one. It was like Nick Scott said, it was a classic.
There were moments all over the place. Moments from Cam Newton to Jake and Smitty and Moose and Wesley.
That walkout for the fourth quarter with the Legends was epic.
To Jalen Coker.
Oh, wow.
To all the plays getting made left and right. This team's on the rise, gang.
You know what my favorite moment of Saturday night was? And it got lost. It was not on the TV copy because I went back and looked for it. I don't think we have a picture of it because it's not where the play was happening. But when I just happened to catch it out of my eye, when Bryce threw that perfect ball to Jalen in the corner of the end zone with like 2.5 minutes left. Yep. That one. Bryce was like falling back and got hit or whatnot. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he ended up on the ground after he threw the ball, and he was laying on the ground watching the video board to see if it happened, and he like sits up in excitement. Chuba turns around to go celebrate with him, realizes he's on the ground, runs and does a belly slide to get to him like this, like slides to him like this, and then they both like hop up and they're celebrating. The belly slide was just epic from Chuba. I loved it so much. I'm so glad I saw it.
One of many, and so glad I saw it might be the name of this podcast episode, because that's going to be the feeling a lot of people had. Nobody's going to forget this 2025 Carolina Panthers team.
It was so fun.
And what they did on Saturday night. I mean, that was not – you always want to win those games. But, man, if you're not going to win, that was the way to lose a football game and finish out a season, because now everybody in the world thinks you're on the
It's like you didn't necessarily lose. You just got beat by a leading MVP candidate.
And shout out to Thomas, Sydney, Andy, all the Panther Vision people. That place was cool. The light show was cool. Like you said, the fourth quarter walkout. It was electric. They killed it. I just want to give them a shout out because they work hard.
That is such a great shout out. The game day atmosphere was top notch.
And, all you people, the 73,000 and change of you that were sitting out there in that building, y'all brought it too. That was playoff atmosphere inside the building and out. Streets of Charlotte were packed. Everybody's feeling good. And now we go into an offseason, but it's a different offseason because now the Carolina Panthers know they belong in those kind of games, which means many, many more people are going to come back, follow this team. We'll be here with you all offseason. We're working on the schedule now, but we got content coming your way.
Just keep your notifications on.
Keep it locked on Panthers.com. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We got you here on the Happy Half Hour. We'll see you soon and talk about repeating as a playoff team. How about
what
that?
Does it take? I'm ready to see Dan Morgan do a draft again. He's killed it the last 2 years.
Yeah, let's see what happens soon. But we'll be back with you soon on the next episode of the Happy Half Hour.